NASCAR is ready to grow. It's very likely that we're going to see a new full team in the Cup Series, and this is a very big hit for all the already existing teams. The All-American NASCAR dream has just suffered a death blow. Who would have thought that NASCAR would abandon its American roots and deteriorate from its origin? After everything that the teams did in order to receive a bigger amount of money from NASCAR, this is what they seemingly got in exchange. So what does this mean for the new non-American team that could enter as soon as 2023? And what do other teams have planned for this move by NASCAR? NASCAR is a competition that has 17 full-time teams, with teams like Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Stewart-Haas Racing having 4-car teams, the maximum allowed in NASCAR. This was the core of NASCAR. The all-American nature of the team is definitely undergoing some changes that are not going to be well accepted by both fans and team owners. Currently, the championship is in some serious trouble regarding the payments made to the existing teams, as all of them were complaining about the size of the piece of the cake that they received. But we'll get into that later in this video. First, let's see how NASCAR responded to all of the existing teams on the grid and what was the most brutal slap in the face delivered by NASCAR itself. There's hundreds of things to cover, so stick around with us until the end. The racing competition is considering adding a new team to the grid, one that is based in Germany, with an owner named Dennis Hertz, and a team named 3F Racing. Initial steps about his entrance in NASCAR have already been taken, and now the situation has spiraled out of the rumors phase, as we are currently seeing some official talks regarding this matter. What a move by NASCAR. Hertz, the owner of the team who is just 39 years old, has purchased his NASCAR license as an owner and secured the number 30 entry. 3F Racing has already been incorporated as a company and registered in the United States, meaning that now everything is official and we're bound to see a new addition to the grid. Hertz spoke to motorsport.com about this situation, further adding, "Where will be a big surprise in American racing from spring 2023, because from then on, German will be spoken there for the first time. The wording is very important to me, because we want to build a US team with roots in Germany." Obviously, Europe is slowly but surely conquering NASCAR, and Hertz's move is definitely a strong one and one that would make all of the current NASCAR team owners think twice before challenging NASCAR yet again about certain things, such as bigger pieces of the cake. What NASCAR team owners and fans don't understand is why NASCAR is abandoning its roots and its original beginnings. Hertz Racing Team will be led by a German, and some of the employees will also be from Europe, including Germany. Still, it's worth mentioning that Hertz's business mostly comes from the States, as his family ran a medical technology company in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, although the relationship between Hertz and the USA is a very close and undeniable one, the roots of his team are definitely European, and with Hertz's statements regarding the involvement of European teams in NASCAR, it's definitely something that makes you think. What is even more convincing about Hertz's quest of NASCAR is that the fact that he doesn't want to spend any time in the Xfinity Series, which is the usual path for new teams, and wants to compete right away in the Cup Series. This means that Hertz's preparation of the multi-million-dollar program, without being able to bring in much equity, has just become even harsher. Things just keep getting worse and worse for the Americans. The money in the team will undoubtedly come from sponsorships, as it does in all the other teams, as Hertz himself stated. 3F Racing is dependent on sponsorship money, which is why we work hard to find good, reliable, and loyal partners to whom we can add value, of course. What is next for 3F? Obviously, they have a lot on their mind to fix, such as the driver's choice, which we'll discuss later in this video. We'll start with something they've already fixed, the collaboration with Chevrolet. Hertz has a very close relationship with General Motors, given the fact that he was a former marketing director of Phoenix Racing and DTM and GT3 Racing. Therefore, the support from Chevrolet was almost given to him. This is something that he is very proud of and hopes that he will make the American manufacturer prouder in the NASCAR series, further adding, "We have a commitment from Richard Childress Racing, one of the most renowned teams in the NASCAR series, for an alliance. Importantly, it's not just a technical alliance, but a close partnership that even gives us a production line for our car in the halls of RCR." In the debut season, Hertz still has no idea which driver he will choose, but what's more interesting is the fact that he's labeled 2025 as the year when 3F is supposed to make a full-time entry into the sport. "We are planning 5 to 10 entries, and until 2025, we are pushing the strategy of starting as a full-time team, then with just one driver. Before that, we will race part-time with several drivers." Obviously, the challenge of jumping directly into the Cup Series without having a sniff out of the Xfinity Series, which is the lower category that teams are using to accommodate first, then jump into the bigger stage, is something that is going to bother Hertz. This is why he chose this path. And although we are eager to see what will happen in 2025 when they are going to become a full-time team, time will tell until then how this team will find a groove in NASCAR. Hertz has spoken about the close relationship with Chevrolet that allows him and his team to choose a driver from Chevrolet's pool of drivers. However, this is just for ovals, and for circuits, he is considering European drivers, maybe even a German one, just to show that he does mean business when it comes to the European involvement in the sport. What a strong statement he makes. But none of it would have been possible without NASCAR's approval, which seems to like the respect and the money much more than the American roots of the sport. Currently, Christopher Tate and Ryan Vargas are two young, up-and-coming drivers who have close relationship with Hertz and will be considered future options for 3F Racing. But if Hertz wants to have a successful start to the season, he needs to rely on experienced drivers just to establish himself as a solid and independent team on the grid. Given the previous history of non-American teams, this will be a very hard task to complete by Hertz. Just look at Team Hessenberg, with the Dutch team coming from the European NASCAR series and fielding 2 Cup cars in 2022. This team had drivers like Daniel Kvyat and Jacques Villeneuve, who previously raced in F1, as well as 2-time Euro NASCAR champion Loris Hesmans, and yet none of them saw great success in the first part-time season. On top of that, Hesmans and Berg have significantly more equity than Hertz to put into the project, which means that Hertz's job is going to be even more complicated. But Hertz is here to stay, and he wants a piece of the cake as well. In times where NASCAR struggles to make all of the team owners happy with how much money is currently coming into their bank accounts, Hertz is only going to complicate things more. Sure, the entrance fees from his side are going to be a huge boost to the sport, but if he manages to find an initial success, then obviously he won't settle for the crumbs of the sport. He gave a thorough explanation of what goals of 3F Racing are, elaborating as follows. We have a good base with potential partners in Georgia, so we would have enough planning time to actually implement our ideas. However, should a strong partner be found for Daytona 500 or a previous race, we are open to anything. Also, we don't want to just chase. Our goal is to develop steadily and become competitive quickly. That's why we have to allocate our resources well and make the right decisions. The plan is to build a classic NASCAR team and create a stable economic foundation. Furthermore, we want to stay in it for the long term. What an interesting period we have ahead of us. The NASCAR team owners just got some more competition, and it's a direct slap in the face from NASCAR, just like we mentioned earlier in this video. When talking about all of the team ownership's protests, Steve Phelps, who is the NASCAR president, added that NASCAR team ownership interest has never been so high, and it seems like he meant business with his statement. This is a direct threat to all of the current owners that if they don't like it this way, there are other teams that will give everything they have in order to be in their positions. Although the protests of team owners reached even the media, it's obvious that the France family isn't going to budge a bit when it comes to giving more money and more equity to the teams, believing in the structure of the business model. Joe Gibbs Racing threatening to go bankrupt once team owner Joe Gibbs steps down, many thought that NASCAR would take extensive steps to prevent this from happening. Instead of that, we have an announcement of a new team. What a savage move by NASCAR, and obviously, it's not something that the team owners are going to like and appreciate. With this move, it's very likely that they will fold under pressure and accept the fact that the business model won't be revised or changed, and in 2024, when the time to sign a new one comes, very small changes would be applied just because the team owners have expressed a wish for a change. Racing is a very competitive sport, and there are people out there who would give everything that's in their power to be a part of NASCAR, just like we've seen with Hertz. What do you think about this move by NASCAR? Do you think that Hertz and 3F Racing have a bright future in the Cup Series? And would you like to see NASCAR remain All-American? Let us know in the comments below. A huge thank you to all our loyal subscribers here at NASCAR Culture. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. The next video will be huge and you surely don't want to miss it. Until next time, racers.